So there's this podcast with Dax Shepard. I don't know what his podcast is called. Is it just Dax Shepard?
Ooh, that's a good question. I don't know.
Okay, guys, if you want to listen to this podcast, just look up Dax Shepard's podcast and Jonathan Hadt. It's Haidt Hadt. I think that's how you say it.
Sounds right.
We're gonna go with it. Okay?
Yeah.
I saw this like quick reel and I was like, oh, this is juicy. This is all me and Jackie. So we talk about, actually, you wrote them down.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. So we got some stats, what he shared. So this is what Jonathan had shared with Dax, and that their conversation kind of evolved from this. But just to back this up, he is a social psychologist. So he does have a background in this. So we felt like this was going to be like some juicy studied stuff that we felt like we could definitely chat about.
So Dax Shepard talks about how he's like, I didn't listen to the podcast yet, guys. I actually just found this recently, so like I didn't have time to do it. But we're gonna chat about it without listening.
Yes. Yeah.
So basically, Dax Shepard's talking to the psychologist like, Gen Z has improved on so many like self-destructive stats compared to millennials. So Gen Z teen pregnancy is down 78%.
Wild.
It says that of drinking age, only 18% of Gen Z is drinking, and a third, which we actually back this up with another stat, even says more. It says 47% of Gen Zers within drinking age haven't even tried alcohol.
Yeah. So the reason, so that's like a good point to make, is because what we realized too is there are Gen Zers who are not of drinking age yet. So that's why we liked that broke it down a little bit. Yeah. So it's still a very small chunk. So of who is drinking age is still not drinking. So that was kind of cool to see.
And then, which also, it could be both. It could be they're not drinking at all, or it could be they're being like, smoking weed, or
California sober.
They're like doing drugs and stuff. Yeah. There are more frugal. I don't have a stat on that, but I do notice that in like majority of Gen Z as a whole. Yeah. They're like, because they're really into like the older clothes and finding vintage, so they're like, they love doing the like Goodwill trips and finding their jeans at here. So like they're definitely more frugal, I find, and that they are just making like healthier choices like from the very beginning of like food and all that kind of stuff. Like when I was like 19, 20, like I literally didn't care what I was eating.
No, absolutely not. We loved us some like fast food, convenience, energy drinks, sodas.
He gives these stats. And the psychologist comes back and says, well, why do you think that that's lowering?
Yeah. And I loved that he said, is it because Gen Z is so wise? And I loved that.
He was like, do you think it's because they're wise? Or do you think it's because they're staying home in their bed, scrolling and not socializing and having jobs and driving? And he's like, because you got to have a license and be able to drive somewhere, or else somebody's got to take you, or you got to find someone. And so he really like is like, yes, all these things are lowering and they're great. That's great.
Yes.
But the problem is they're lowering because of a negative thing.
Yes. Yeah.
So they're lowering because they have social anxiety. They're lowering because they have way more depression and anxiety, panic attacks than millennials or any other generation. It's skyrocketed. So yes, those things are going down, but it's stemming from their mental health and this idea that they are socializing, but socializing through their phone and not socializing in person. So that's why things are trending down, because they're not dating. Mm-hmm. Everyone's like, their pregnancies are going down because they're not dating. If you're not dating, you're kind of like, and if you have social anxiety, you're also probably not.
Yeah. If you're not getting out of your bed to leave your house, how are you ever going to meet somebody? How are you ever going to underage drink? And how are you ever going to get a job to make money, to buy things, to not be frugal? So I just feel like it all is like a little
it's
spiral.
like a domino.
Yeah. Domino effect. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm just like, oh,
100%. Yeah. So we're very excited to listen to that podcast, and I actually am really intrigued to read the book.
I know the book is called, because that's like a good one too. We'll have to add this to our shopping cart so we can read this together. It is called "Coddling of the American Mind." So I really love the title.
I already love it.
Getting good vibes just from the title itself.
And I just if you guys will share. I think we'll share it on our stories. Yeah. The real.
Oh yeah, that would be really good, so that people could hear what we're getting this from.
Yeah. I really like his vibe too. Yeah. Like how he talks. I'm here for it.
Yeah. The way he just unpacked everything is just really nicely done. Very digestible. And he's giving both sides to it. So it's like, yay, great. Like Gen Z is being healthy, but at what cost?